Hello, and
Hi.
welcome to the Unite Copenhagen 2019 keynote, here live from the Bella Centre. You're joining us here for the pre-show, and we're very glad that you have. Hello, Will Goldstein.
Hi, Liz McCurry. How are you doing?
I'm very well indeed. I'm very excited. So, what are we doing here?
It's a very good question. What the devil are we doing here? Well, we're here to count you down over the next 20 minutes leading up to the keynote.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. We're not allowed to tell you what you're going to see, but we're going to give you a few hints, and we're going to welcome a few guests on the stage to talk about what's coming up too. So, for those of you joining on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook Live, Mixer, Periscope, welcome. You're in the right place if you want to watch the keynote. And the keynote's going to begin in 20 minutes, like I said. We're counting down to some amazing announcements. So, what are you looking forward to, Liz?
So, in particular, I'm looking forward to some announcements in graphics. So we're going to be hearing a little bit more about the applications of the high-definition render pipeline. And we're also going to be having a look at the universal render pipeline, formerly known as the lightweight render pipeline.
Exactly.
And we have a guest as well to just talk about that later, which is always very exciting indeed.
True.
What about you?
I'm looking forward to the latest on DOTS, the data-oriented tech stack. So we are going to be showing you, we've talked about performance a lot in the past. We're going to show you how that performance kind of permeates out to convenience and workflow. And frankly, I think we're going to show you something that you've never seen before in a game engine, and I'm really excited about that.
It's extremely exciting.
It's very cool.
One section I'm particularly excited about as well is we're going to have our VP of AI, Danny Lang, telling us about the applications of simulation in Unity. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you all to see.
Yeah, there's some really incredible stuff, and it stretches beyond game development out to all kinds of other industries too. And of course, connected games too.
Yes, so we're going to see something from Madfinger about their solution for connected games, which is very exciting indeed.
It's true, it's true. So there's over 150 sessions at Unite. There's a lot of content, right?
And there's like almost 3,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, look around.
Look at them.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Good. 2 waves there. That'll do. Why not? And so the atmosphere here is buzzing. As always at Unity, we have a Made with Unity showcase to showcase what everybody's got.
Yeah, so what would a Unite be without a Made with Unity showcase? So Made with Unity showcase brings together all the projects and games from our creators, which is always extremely exciting. So we've got not just games, but we've got film and animation, we've got architecture, engineering, construction, we have automotive. Whatever industry you are in, we have something for you. But if you're not here...
If you're there...
if you're there at home, or wherever you are, what Made with Unity gems have you been playing, William?
Oh, me? Well, I've been playing... I signed up to Apple Arcade last week.
Congratulations to all our creators who released last week.
Yep, so there's... What you're seeing right now, Sayonara Wild Hearts by Simogo. I love this game, Liz. You've got to play it. I'm putting a lot of pressure on Liz to play this game.
Visually very beautiful. It looks like my jam.
Yeah, it's a stunning rhythm-based game. It's like a pop album video game. You are a lady who's been transformed into a pop superheroine, and you're fighting, and you're riding a motorbike.
Motorbiking.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I love it. And then I was also playing Jenny Leclue by Mografi.
I have heard this.
So this is stunning. Like, it's been in development for a long time. I've been following it really closely. It's an adventure game. It's really, really funny, and it kind of reminded me of, the classic days of LucasArts adventure games. And it's about a little, like a little Nancy Drew girl. She's solving a mystery in her town, and it looks fantastic. Highly recommend that.
Yeah, that looks great.
And then the other one I was playing was Punch Planet.
Not heard of this?
Yeah, it's the beat 'em up I was telling you about.
Yes, you were telling me about this because I love a beat 'em up.
Yeah, and I love all the pop culture references.
Like Ripley.
Yeah, there's a lady who looks a bit like Ripley there. And I'm sure there's no copyright problems with that.
That looks great.
It's an absolutely awesome game. And of course, coming up soon as well is Manifold Garden from William Cheer. This game's been in the works for a long time, and it looks absolutely unique. I absolutely adore this game, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
So what about at the showcase? Is there anything you're excited about here?
Yeah, of course. So in the showcase, we have lots of games as well. I've been following this one for a while. He's here tonight at the show. Feed-In's game, Recompile. So this is a 3D Metroidvania action game set inside a computer. So think like Tron plus Metroid Prime plus, Portal, whatever else. It's just stunning. I mean, you can see for yourself, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
And what have you been playing that's at the show?
Well, I'm very excited to see Seed. So Seed is by Berlin-based Clan Games, and the first thing that drew me to it was its minimalistic art style. I absolutely love it, and it's actually quite deceiving because the art style does not sort of portray everything that is in this game. So it's a sandbox MMO in which players can create their own ecosystems. So you have a seedling, and you can cultivate that seedling. A seedling has wants and needs like human beings.
Yeah.
And if you cultivate and listen to your seedlings, you can like create your own colony and have relationships develop there. And those like cultivations also are going on when you're not playing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those games that I'm going to sink hours into. I just know I am. Awesome. And as I said, it's not just games in the Made with Unity showcase.
Yeah, of course.
We have media and entertainment too. So the scene that you can see now is A Kite's Tale by Walt Disney Animation Studios. So
not heard of them. Who are they?
So this is their second short animation, virtual reality animation. So this is all hand-drawn animations brought into the medium of VR, which is very, very exciting and just looks beautiful. And it's also very Disney in its story. It's about two kites, as you can see, that are very different, that just learn to live together and coexist beautifully.
Awesome.
A bit like us, I guess.
Maybe not. So you can learn more about these games, other projects and other creators, their creative process and all that good stuff on the Made with Unity website, which is madewith.unity.com.
Marvelous.
And obviously we wanted to give a big shout out to the rest of the indie community that's not been featured just now. So we put together this indie celebration reel for you to take a look at some of those great games. Let's take a look at it right now. Tons and tons of great Unity talent going out into those games. Thanks so much for doing what you do. We absolutely love all of them. Liz, do you know what I love about those games?
What's that?
Graphics.
Well, it's a good job that you enjoy graphics.
Yeah,
because
why?
Look who we have with us.
Oh my goodness, it's Arissa Scott, our product manager for graphics. What an incredible coincidence. Hi, Arissa.
Hi, Will. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good.
Thank you for joining us. We won't keep you long because I know you're going to be spilling some graphical beans in the keynote itself. So I'm going to dive right in there. Universal render pipeline, previously referred to as the lightweight render pipeline. So they're not two separate entities.
Nope. So in 2019.3, we have renamed lightweight to universal. So lightweight was originally a more targeted solution focused on mobile, being super performant, and a little bit more of a narrow focus. And its feature set has grown and it's evolved. It's still super performant, but it offers like fantastic visuals and more flexibility. So all lightweight users, when they get 2019.3, from their point of view, it's a name change with more features.
Awesome. So what differentiates that from our built-in renderer, for example?
More flexibility. It's also more performant. So because it's a single forward pass renderer, you know, we've got some exciting stats in the keynote.
Yep.
And there are a lot of artist tools like VFX Graph and Shader Graph. We also have a new post-processing stack, which is integrated directly into Universal, which gives you more performance and also, you know, beautiful visuals.
Awesome. Speaking of beautiful visuals, we're taking a look at the spaceship demo right now. And this is HDRP, right? So what's the difference there with HDRP? What kind of add-ons on top of what you would get with Universal could you expect?
Sure. So HDRP is more targeted. Compute-capable platforms are high-end platforms like Xbox, PS4, and you have things like volumetrics and a much richer PBR that is even more realistic than what we offer in Universal, and a lot of other great features like subsurface scattering and all the other acronyms you might want.
Yeah, SSS, the XSR, and the
yeah, very important. And like here, we're seeing a lot of great VFX Graph work for this demo.
And we have good news about VFX Graph, right? It's now working with Shader Graph.
Yeah, so you can author your shaders inside of Shader Graph, use those directly in VFX Graph to get even more gorgeous effects.
Awesome, awesome. So, Liz, ray tracing.
I don't know why you're asking me. Arissa, tell us a little bit more about ray tracing. I know that we've previously released blog posts about this, but can you tell us a little bit more about what we can expect and how we can get our hands on it?
So you can download 2019.3 and use HDRP. Our ray tracing solution is built directly on top of HDRP.
Oh.
So
if you have that package, you'll just upgrade and it'll be there.
Yep, it'll be
that's
there.
awesome.
And if you have the hardware, then you'll be able to kind of scale upwards even further. And you author once, have it work with both HDRP and with ray tracing. And the nice thing about our solution for ray tracing is it's the final frame entirely in editor, so you're seeing ray tracing within the editor as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you can kind of iterate much faster.
Very cool. Well, it's nearly keynote time, so I think you should probably
go
head out.
prep for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good luck. We'll see more of Arissa in the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Cool. Well, Liz, do you know what I loved about that segment?
What did you love?
I loved having a guest.
Do you know, I did as well.
I think we should have another guest.
And, from one hot topic, graphics, to another, one of the hottest topics in gaming at the moment is cloud-based gaming. And to talk to us a little bit more about that, we have Samuel Peterson from Stadia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much
Hi,
for
Samuel.
having me. Really excited to be here at Unite.
Yes.
So the Google Stadia service launches in November for players, but obviously your audience right now and back here is Unity developers.
Yep.
So what advice do you have for Unity developers and how do they get onto the Stadia platform?
Sure. So the good news is we've been working with Unity for over a year now, so we're almost there.
Cool.
And back at GDC this year, we launched the Stadia Partnerships Program. If you haven't heard about it, it's a program that we've generated to engage with developers regardless of their size. So support opportunities range from financial to production support to marketing, and we really tailor those to the individual opportunity and the individual developer.
Wow.
So you're kind of solving some of the kind of like publishing aspects of getting the game out as well.
Absolutely. It's
Awesome.
really about helping them bring their games to market in the best way possible.
Sweet.
That sounds like an incredible opportunity. What advice would you give to any of the developers who are watching that want to take advantage of this partnership?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, it'll surprise you to learn that we're looking for games that people want to play, right? So key amongst that is that they're playable. So we're looking for games that are in development.
Okay.
And more important than that is we're really interested in developers who want to take full advantage of the power of Stadia. So either the back end or some of our YouTube integration features. You might have 300 enemies in a battle on screen in a single instance, or you could use Crowd Boost, Crowd Play, or State Share, which are some of our YouTube integrations,
Oh, cool.
and you can read all about those on our blog.
I was going to say, I don't know what those are, and if people want to find out, they can go to stadia.dev, right?
Yeah, stadia.dev is where you go to learn about those.
So what is the actual application process like? How do people, what's it going to be like if they want to apply? If they've got a vertical slice or something they want to show you today?
Sure. So the initial application process is really important. That's where we're getting to learn about you as a developer. So you need to submit your web domain, your developer background. We want gameplay footage or early playable. We're obviously looking for developers with recent history in certified storefronts. Experience in consoles is very interesting. It's not a prerequisite, but it's definitely a nice to have. And clearly, we'd like developers from Unity and with expertise in Unity.
Awesome.
It's incredible. So people can head to stadia.dev to find out more about the partnership, but also about the Stadia features, right?
Absolutely. Head to stadia.dev to register your interest.
Well,
Amazing.
have a great show, Samuel. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, and
Thanks.
good luck finding all of this talent out here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Cool. So we are going to pivot back to Unity for a moment now.
We are.
So, Liz, I don't know about you, but I've used Unity since like 2008 because I'm very, very old. And it's always kind of looked the same. So, thankfully, in 2019.3, we're getting a bit of a restyle thanks to this lady, Mary Luther, our senior UX designer. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Will, nice suit.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
So, why are we doing this now? It's been a long time. It's been, how long did you tell me earlier?
Well, it's been about 14 years, and we've had the same style in the editor pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
And so Unity is growing a lot. And as you're going to see at Unite, we have more awesome teams than ever creating new features for Unity.
True.
So it's really important that we have a system that is cohesive and consistent so that everything can work together.
Yeah.
And so how did you get started with the redesign? What was the process?
Yeah, so the first thing we did was just talk to users. And what we found when we did this is kind of like we could categorize them into 3 main areas. So the first major area was just that people told us that the editor felt really dated, like you guys were just talking about. So we did user research to find out more. And really sit down, listen, and observe people working in Unity to see how these things affected the usability of the product. So what people told us is that they felt that the editor was actually less usable and had a lower quality because just of the way it looked.
So it's like a part perception thing as well.
Yeah, totally. We call it aesthetic usability in the UX world.
Okay.
And then, of course, we had real kind of usability issues related to people kind of losing the context of where they were in the editor. So that's kind of the second main area.
Like focus.
Yeah, focus. So like, am I in the hierarchy? Am I in the scene view? And then I edit the inspector, and then I've edited the wrong thing, and then I'm angry. Those kind of issues. And then the third one was just lots of little inconsistencies like everywhere and little usability issues. So like text that was just too small to read or too light to see. Lots of things just slightly out of alignment. And just like a million other little inconsistencies.
Like a death by 1,000 cuts of awfulness.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, we can see the redesign on screen right now. And we can hopefully show you a little video clip of the side-by-side between 19.2 and 19.3. So tell us a little bit about the differences we've got here. Obviously, there's a bit of a flat design compared to the old look.
Yeah, so one thing that's really common right now is modern apps are sort of taking over the landscape of tech, is everybody's going flat. And so that could be actually really bad for usability. If you go too flat, it's really hard to tell the difference between a text input and a drop-down, and it can really kind of mess you up. So the challenge for us was to add enough like subtle depth cues to support usability while really making a nice modern style.
Yeah, it feels like, and I think like we got a lot of feedback on the forum as well that there was, you know, like a good compromise between the flat and, you know, adding those cues for people. Yeah,
so one of those things when we were kind of thinking about this is we talked to users and we did a lot of refinement and iteration on the forums and also via surveys to kind of get things at like a really good level of detail, because that's what this kind of an effort takes. And then like the other thing that we did was we added over the past couple releases things like tab focus and hover. And I mean, all these things have come in over the last couple, so they're not new for 2019.3, but they've been all part of this effort. So we've added them as soon as we technically can. And that's been really helpful so that when you actually are, you know, modifying an object and editing in the inspector, you're like less likely to make a mistake, which is has made me feel better working in Unity. I like don't lose my place as often as I used to.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing.
And so what's actually coming next? You know, we've seen 19.3 and what that looks like. What's coming up in the future of the editor as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, so 2019.3 is actually just the first stage of kind of like a bigger effort to continue modernizing the editor. And so the next things we really want to focus on are usability, accessibility, and then of course user workflows to make kind of Unity a better experience for as many types of users as possible. And we're just going to listen to the users. So we're going to let the users lead us where they lead us in these areas. And we're going to just continue to kind of reach out and talk to them on the forums. And I do actually want to say thanks to everybody over the past year out there that kind of worked with us on the forums, filled out like the 3 million surveys on theming that we put out. Because all that feedback, we were able to make the majority of those changes. That's pretty much all I've done for the past year, was listen to feedback and make stuff better. Yeah.
It's awesome. Mary, awesome work. Thank you for joining us and telling us about the editor.
Thanks, Will.
Cool.
Thanks, Liz.
Enjoy.
Have a good Unite.
Yeah,
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Cool. So, of course, the editor theme isn't the only thing that's coming to make your life better in Unity. We have a ton of quality of life improvements coming to the editor very soon. And we've put together a quick trailer to show you some of the great things that are coming up in 19.3 and 20.1. Let's take a look at the quality of life reel right now. Okay, lots of
Wow.
amazing stuff in that video.
Lots to talk about, but no
And you-
time.
No time whatsoever. You're about to be blown away by some even more cool stuff in the keynote right now. Let's do this.
Enjoy.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the keynote.
Enjoy the keynote.
Please welcome Kat Strafford.
Welcome to Unite Copenhagen. We are so excited that you all are here. One of the things that makes Unity's community so unique and special is that people come from everywhere to come together at Unite, share ideas, share the latest technology, collaborate, and make new friends. So thank you all for joining us. We have a really exciting week ahead. So we want to extend a big welcome, not just to everyone in the room here, but also to everyone on the live stream. We hope you're going to enjoy the show with us. And we also would like to welcome all the speakers, all the demoers, partners, and the people who brought this all together and made it possible. So welcome. So we have a week full of 150 sessions, tons and tons of demos across the expo floor, as well as Unite at Night that I hope you all make it to. And of course, the one thing you've asked a lot for, which is more time and more experts at the expert bar. So before I move on, though, I want to take a special minute or second to recognize our beta testers. Where are you? Are you right here? Yes, thank you. Thanks for making Unity better every day and helping everyone enjoy it. We really appreciate all that you do. You guys are kind of grinning sheepishly, but we really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so tonight, John is going to share how the power of real-time 3D is transforming the way we all create. Lucas and team are going to share more about our data-oriented tech stack. Timony and team are going to share around our AR tool set, including Mars, AR Foundation, and some new features that we haven't shared yet. Danny and team, sorry, just Danny actually, he's going to share more around simulation. And Arissa and team are going to demonstrate our latest on graphics, including 2D features, our new scriptable render pipelines, as well as a few other surprises. And we're going to hear from some special guests. So let's dive in.
Who first shared their stories in caves, connected art, nature, and science, led us toward new horizons? Who thought to capture motion, spark an engine to life, turn television into a playground? Every day, you create the playful, the functional, and the unexpected. You break down walls and take us to astonishing places. Tell stories, leap borders, and create beauty for tomorrow. Because at Unity, we believe the world is a better place with more creators in it, where everyone has a chance to shape the world.
Please welcome John Riccatello.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Unite in Copenhagen. On behalf of everybody at Unity, we welcome you all here and we're thrilled to be here. It was only a couple kilometers away from here where it all started, when 15 years ago, the very first lines of Unity were written. Now, together with all of you, an amazing group of developer partners and customers, we've achieved more than we ever thought possible. We built a better game engine, and you've built amazing games. Today, games built on Unity account for approximately 50% of all games on every platform in every country in the world. In just the last 12 months, games you've built were downloaded 34 billion times. Think about that for a minute. If you do the math, that's 53 downloads of a Unity-based game, the stuff you build, every second, 53 per second. And over this time, our industry has entered its golden era. Today, gaming is a $150 billion industry, far surpassing film and music to become the largest entertainment medium on the planet. And we've gotten there through great games like Inside by Play Dead, Sayonara Wild Hearts, or Nintendo's Mario Kart Tour from you. And collectively, we surpassed these other media through innovation, taking advantage of the massive increase in compute power and networks to help you deliver groundbreaking content. And it gets better from here. The constraints we face are falling away. With magnitudes better performance, processing, streaming, the evolution of technology will power gaming farther than ever before. And because we're the enablers of the most important, or one of the most important and significant technologies of our time, real-time 3D. Mastery of real-time 3D technology and tools means you can be the agents of change for the gaming industry. But our shared technology that we use to make games has also helped us become the leading entertainment media in the world and will take us to other industries as well. Real-time 3D is already proving to be invaluable across industries that help design, build, and sell the most complex projects ranging from cars to airplanes to skyscrapers, such as designing and testing augmented reality experiences that don't exist yet, like Volvo has done with Vario, or how a construction company, Mortensen, created and designed medical operation suites in VR before constructing such critical venues in real life. Or Bell building virtual prototypes of the FCX helicopter for design and test piloting. You are the pioneers of the real-time 3D revolution. This is a revolution transforming all content, all creation across dozens of industries, and you started it. That which is static will move. That which was not social will be connected. That which was 2D and flat will be 3D, real-time, and immersive. It's game makers like you and pioneers in other industries, many of them here tonight at Unite, that will lead the world into the next realm of creative possibility. So get ready to shape the world. Now, before we welcome Lucas to the stage, please join me in taking a look at some of the incredible things you've made with Unity.
Please welcome Lucas Meyer.
Hey, everyone. Well, good to see you all here. I get to talk about our data-oriented technology stack. A gentleman here heard about it. And when he heard about it, he probably heard us talk about performance. Performance, 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 and performance by default in particular. The reason we talk about that so much is because we focus on it, because it's the one part of a game engine that you cannot add back later on. However, what about convenience? Let's talk about some programmer convenience. If you're a programmer that wants to use dots today, you kind of start like this. You make a component, but to use it in the editor, you have to make this authoring component. To make it do something, you need to make a system. To make it do that fast, you need to make a job. And then to run the job, you need to schedule that job. So you could say, well, I don't know, Lucas, that sounds like a lot of work to move something around. And you'd be kind of right. Because there's only a few lines in this page of code that actually have some programmer intent. So the next release of Dots tries to help with this. We'll start with this authoring component at the top. Instead of us asking you to write it, you can ask the compiler to write it, by just adding this generate authoring component attribute. Here in the bottom, with the struct, let's remove that for a second, and let's replace it with the entities.forEach statement. I'll get to that in a second, but if you compare this to what we started with, that's already a substantial improvement in terms of the amount of boilerplate that you need to deal with. Now, let's take a look at this new code. The programmers in the room, they might have had a little heart attack because there's a lambda expression in here. And those cause GC allocations, and those cause GC spikes, and those cause complaining customers. In the next Dots release, we're making the lambda expression in the entities.forEach, we're making it special. Instead of running it as normal C#, we convert it into that same job struct that we were asking you to write manually before. So when you use this construct, you're using the Unity job system to go wide over all your cores. However, it also uses burst. If you look at the burst inspector for this code, you can see that the inner loop uses these XMM1, XMM2 registers. These are SIMD instructions that operate on multiple elements at the same time. So not only are you going wide over all your cores, on each of those cores, you're going wide using all the SIMD lanes. And that's a great place for us to be in, when you can have the most optimal code you could write, but where you can write it in a relatively humane way that doesn't come at the expense of that performance. Another great convenient thing for programmers in Dots is that when we ship Dots, we ship it to you as C# source packages. If you've played around with Dots, that means that the complete source code of Dots and all the features that are built on top of it are on your laptop, in your backpack, under your chair right now. If you make a Dots game and you grab a debugger and you start single-stepping through your game code, you'll step through your game code into our Dots code, into the physics code, into the net code, into the animation engine. You can see everything, you can change everything, you can make fun of my incredibly verbose local variable names. Many people do that. I won't give up, though. Because in Dots, there's no more black boxes. You can see everything. All right, enough with these programmers. Let's get Joachim and Martin on stage.
Thank you, Lucas. Now, Lucas talked about how to write code for Dots, but you also need a great tool to create your content. And for Dots, we're going to use the exact same Unity editor you know and love already. So Martin, let's take a look at some content.
Yeah, so let's jump into our prototyping level here. It's built exactly like you would expect in Unity. It's made out of prefabs, nested prefabs, game objects, and components. If we look at the sphere, we'll see it's, as you know it has a mesh filter, renderer, sphere collider. The only difference is that we're runtime converting this game object data into entity representation.
And in Dots, we make a distinction between the data that the game code operates on and the data that content creators use. And bridging those two worlds is the conversion workflow. It converts from an authoring-friendly game object representation to runtime-optimized entities. And this optimized Dots data is streamable, it's compact, and it's optimal for performance. And in the preview inspector, you can see that conversion happening live. So when Martin changes the physics body to be dynamic, you can see the inspector update here, and you can see exactly what these runtime game code components that are actually being used at runtime are being generated from your very simple to easy to use, understand authoring representation up there. Now, to build a game, you need at least a couple of core features. So we built a third-person shooter, and it uses all the brand new DOTS features: animation, physics, rendering, and netcode together. And we made a very small, simple sample project with the purpose of being easy to understand and digest. So Lucas, let's have a play.
All right, let's go. All right, where are you? Everyone should know that Joe made me promise to lose, so he wouldn't look silly.
Good takeaway. So what you see here, this is running on our FPS netcode. It is built on top of DOTS, and it makes it easy to create any network game using an FPS netcode architecture. It has everything that you would expect. Client-side prediction, lag compensation, and interpolation are all built in. We're also using the new Unity animation package. It is high performance, very flexible, and there are no black boxes. Every character in this game uses runtime IK. As you can see here, the feet are perfectly sticking to the chrome ball. We use Unity physics for the character controller, sliding along the walls, jumping, and going over the floor. We're using raycasts from Unity physics for the shooting. And for rendering, we're using the scriptable render pipelines with a dot-based rendering component for optimal performance. So Martin, the only thing I'm just not too sure about in this is the color scheme you picked.
Yeah, the baby blue might be an issue. We can try and find something a bit cooler. Let's try something grass-like, more green. Try that. I save. And boom, there you have it on your device. I can also try something else, maybe. That didn't work out that beautifully, but like a midnight purple. Do that.
All right.
Push it.
All right, so that's a big deal, because Martin has... Oh, the color wasn't that nice. It's a big deal because Martin has this project open in the editor, but me and Joachim, we are running built players that are running the game. And he's making a change in the editor on the left, but it's affecting the players while they're running the game that don't have to reboot.
Yeah, so since I'm generating runtime ready data on the editor end, there's no reason that I can't push it to any device.
Right. So what kind of changes can you make?
Anything really. If you look at the Chrome sphere, Joe, then I can, I can make translations. I can duplicate. Make another sphere. I can go back to the static component that I touched on the physics body, make it dynamic. They'll fall down, collide, maybe topple over if we're lucky. There we go. So yeah, I can even make changes to shaders. Let's go into my shader graph where, like any good TV chef, I prepared a little effect that we can drop on. Save. Boom.
So that's what I really love about this feature, that it's what I really love. I was running on the tablet. Joachim was running on a desktop. We could also attach a console and a phone, and they would all attach to the same editing session. And when Martin makes a change, Dots bakes out the entity data for each of those devices individually. So that means that he can see the changes on all of those devices without the devices having to restart or the games having to reboot.
Yeah, and this is no matter the device. It could be a console or an iPhone or anything, really.
So what does that do to your workflow as an artist?
Yeah, as an environment artist, this means I can build my entire world on the device with direct feedback on actual device performance. It'll be immediately visible to me if I have performance headroom in one space of the level, and I can add more detail there, or if I need to optimize in another part of the level. And instead of looking through complex profiling tools, I can simply hide or delete elements and see the performance impact on the scene.
So, and I believe this will have an incredible impact on your productivity. Unfortunately, all of these features, Unity animation, FPS netcode, live link, and conversion flow, will ship as preview packages alongside Unity 2019.3. And we're also going to make the full project folder that we just showed you with all source code and assets available very soon.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Please welcome Brandy House.
From Unkilled to Shadowgun Legends, Madfinger has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible with mobile multiplayer gameplay, one of the hardest problems developers face today. We know that for Unity to build the best multiplayer tools, we need to battle test our tech in some of the most challenging scenarios out there. Enter Madfinger's Shadowgun Wargames, a tournament-style mobile title designed for esports, coming out later this year.
When you say you're the best at shooters, well, why do you say you're the best at shooters?
Because it's true. Shadowgun Legends is a social shooter, so you can get into the hub, you can make friends, you can play emotes, and you can set a match, and you can go fight against aliens. The other side, war games, is very quick. There is almost no social stuff. Of course, we will support friends, we will support guilds, but the game is designed to be super quick, to jump in, shoot. Making games challenge, this is why I'm doing it. This is what I love. From very beginning, from the first idea for the final product, everything is challenging.
The challenges start with building, but they go on forever once it's a living game.
What Unity provides us is dedicated server, which allows you to control what player can do and cannot. You don't need to rely on clients. And of course, the biggest challenge is dealing with cheaters.
They're ruining the game to others, so we have to fight them. Using dedicated servers has one big advantage. You can run full simulation of the game on the servers, which means you have low latency, you have full control on what's going on in the game.
And they just won't be able to do those nasty stuff.
I must say that using Unity Matchmaker is more simple because it's pluggable and it provides all infrastructure and allows me to focus only on the matchmaker logic itself.
We got a really close relationship with Unity, and because Unity cares, so we can do games, the best games ever.
To create games of this caliber, you need to ensure your games don't lag, prevent cheaters from ruining your game, quickly bring players together into fair matches, and open communication channels that feel safe for everyone. Unity worked alongside Madfinger to bring all of this into wargames. Madfinger started with our new Unity Transport package, which enables rapid transfer of data to and from the game server, keeping players in sync with as low latency as possible. Next, they integrated our dedicated server hosting and matchmaking to seamlessly connect players to servers across the globe. With our matchmaker, Madfinger defined which players they wanted to group together with custom C# match functions, and we handled the rest. And finally, they plugged into our best-in-class voice communications to provide their players with an immersive social experience. As Madfinger has shown you, Unity Transport Package, available in preview, dedicated server hosting, matchmaking in beta next month, and voice communications provide the foundation to build a world-class multiplayer experience. Thank you.
Please welcome Timony West and Brittany Edmonds.
If you want to make powerful, deeply interactive, augmented reality experiences that intelligently interact with the real world, you are in the right place.
Because you need the right tools to build intelligent AR experiences, and we're building them for you. We've built features that not only unlock the next generation of AR experiences, but that help make creating these experiences much easier.
That's right, yep. Mars is our suite of design and simulation tools that is built to make the workflow that much faster. It allows you to prototype, test, and ship much more quickly than ever.
It sits on top of our AR Foundation framework, and it allows you to create AR experiences that work the way we really want AR to work. Context-aware, flexible, customizable, work in any location and with any kind of data, without requiring tons of code.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the ways that Mars makes your life easier. Okay, so you can be constantly testing without having to make a device build. And this is enabled through the Mars always-on query system, which is very cool, our simulation view, and our environment templates. And you can author complex data-oriented applications using a what you see is what you get interface. You can literally drag and drop objects into the simulation view, just like in real life. And we have visual gizmos to help you actually lay out objects in the space. Just lay out your scene. And you can use any kind of AR data, and there is a lot. So object tracking, gesture detection, body tracking, face tracking, all of these different types of data. And we are future-proofing as well to make sure that we can take advantage of all the new cool types of data that are coming down the pipe.
And to make the development process even faster and more accurate, Mars will have companion apps for AR devices. The first iteration will be for mobile phones, and we're giving you a quick sneak peek right here. You'll be able to sync projects in the Unity cloud and then lay out assets as easily as placing a 3D sticker. You'll be able to use your phone to create conditions and record video and world data and export it straight back into the editor without having to make a build of your project.
Gotta tell you, that video part was really hard to get right. Okay, and the next iteration, of course, is gonna be for wearable AR devices, the Magic Leap and the HoloLens, and it's the same idea in mind. You're sitting in your space, you're taking in world data, you have it on the headset, and you can export it directly back into the editor to author against. Just same concept. Okay, so there you go. We've got Mars, and that is our work environment for AR development. But of course, we want you to be able to take your AR experiences and get them into as many hands as possible. And we have you covered there too. Dan, welcome to the stage.
Thanks, Timony. AR Foundation allows you to build your experience once and ship it on all major platforms.
In today's AR ecosystem, each platform has similar core features, but they each have different workflows and nuances to enable them. We do the work to unify these so that you can simply enable a feature once in Unity using AR Foundation, and that feature seamlessly works across all of the platforms.
And if a feature is enabled on one platform but isn't available on another, we put in the hooks. So when the feature becomes available, it's easy to put it into an existing app or experience, simply by updating your packages, not rebuilding your app from scratch.
This framework also gives you the ability to take advantage of all of the awesome features and workflows we're building for Unity, so that you can create truly robust AR apps that are ready to ship to internal stakeholders or on any app stores. And we're not just talking about mobile anymore.
That's because AR Foundation now extends to wearable AR devices. For the first time ever, you can build an experience once and ship it on ARKit, ARCore, HoloLens, and Magic Leap devices.
And when you're building an experience to any or all of these devices, we know that you're going to want your user to actually be able to interact with that content in a variety of ways, like scaling, rotating, repositioning it, just to name a few. We also know that coding these object interactions from scratch for each device and every new platform is really time-consuming.
So we're giving you the ability to add interactivity to your AR and VR applications, simply by adding components to your objects. This brand new XR interaction toolkit handles everything from touches and gestures on mobile devices, all the way up to tracked controllers and even tracked hands. This toolkit is coming out in preview in 2019.3. And now we want to leave you with one final note.
Having to completely rebuild your app from scratch in order to add AR functionality to it is time-consuming and painful, and we know that it's actually a non-starter for some of you. So we're officially giving you the ability to embed the full power of Unity, inclusive of our AR offerings, directly into any native app that already exists today.
And with that capability, combined with Mars, AR Foundation, and the XR Interaction Toolkit, we're giving you the tools to build powerful augmented reality experiences that intelligently interact with the real world and reach the widest possible audience. Thank you.
Please welcome Adam Chernick.
Hi, everyone. At Shop Architects, we're focused on innovation. We've done projects such as the Uber headquarters in San Francisco and US embassies around the world. One of our most recent projects is a skyscraper that's currently under construction in New York City. It's set to become the tallest structure in Brooklyn. It's also the first project that's using Unity Reflect, which is a new product from Unity. But before I jump into that, let me give you a little bit of background. See, architects and engineers have been using 3D for a long time. The technology is called Building Information Modeling, or simply BIM. See, now with Unity Reflect, we can actually do a lot more with this BIM information, with these BIM models. Until recently, the time it took to get these BIM models into real-time engines was far from real time. It actually took teams, days or weeks in order to optimize and convert these models into real-time ready assets. And this really didn't align with the speed of iteration that we needed in our office. And of course, the consequence was that not a lot of our projects made it into real-time engines. But now with Unity Reflect, it's easy for any architect or designer to take their BIM models and data into Unity. And this is a big deal. This is a game changer for our industry. So let me show you a little bit about it. So the first thing to note is that you get a couple things out of the box with Unity Reflect. You get a plugin into our BIM software Autodesk Revit, as well as a Reflect Viewer application. So here we are in Autodesk Revit, and we have our entire model for that tower project in Brooklyn. And this is actually the model that we use to create construction documents to get this building built. And I have another view here that just isolates the exterior window panels of this model. And this is actually what we're going to focus on in this demo, is these exterior windows. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in all this geometry into the out-of-the-box viewer. And this is the out-of-the-box viewer we have over here on the right. All I have to do is open up these projects and pull it in. And you'll notice how fast it is to get this model into this out-of-the-box Reflect viewer. And you can navigate and isolate specific components. And another very, very important thing to note is the live link function. So if I click this button right here, we're actually creating a live link between our BIM software and the Reflect viewer. So if we come down to this awning here, and that looks a little bit small, so let's make it a little bit bigger. We're going to be able to see this updated live in the viewer. And this is huge. If we're making changes with clients or general contractors, we're going to be able to get these updates in AR or in VR in real time. This is very important. And this is what you get out of the box with Reflect. But since it's built on Unity, we're able to customize and build on top of this technology. And so that's actually what we're most excited about here at Shop Architects. So I'm going to show you the first thing that we built with Unity Reflect, which is a panel status tracking application for the exterior windows of this tower. So if we jump back into Revit really quick here, I want to show you one thing. If I toggle through and grab one of these panels, we'll see all of the associated metadata over here in the left side. And we'll see this one specific piece of metadata here, panel status. And this piece of data is what we're going to be looking for over in the Unity editor. So if we jump into Unity now, I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up a Reflect project. I have the Reflect package here. I'm just going to drag and drop in the Reflect prefab and hit play. And what you're going to notice is that right out of the gates, what we get is the exact same functionality as the Reflect viewer that you had just seen. But now that since we're in Unity, we can actually look and dive in a little bit and customize. So I'm going to jump into this root game object, and I'm going to show you that this is actually where this model instantiated itself. And we're going to see over on the left, when I select a panel here, all of that metadata that we had in our BIM software is now accessible in Unity. And this is huge, including this panel status parameter, which is what our custom script is going to be looking for. So if I kill this really quick and I look at our main camera, I have a custom script here that I'm just going to turn on, and I'm going to give it a couple inputs. So I'm going to give it this manager, and I'm going to give it this root game object, and I'm going to rerun it. So what we're able to do here is we're actually able to grab that piece of data, and then we're going to change the material of each of these panels based on that panel status piece of data. So it's going to come in here, and then it's going to change the colors of these panels. And these panels, these colors of these panels are indicative to the status of that panel on the construction site, whether that panel is complete, whether that panel is in transit on its way to the construction site, or maybe there's an issue associated with that panel, there's a crack, and it needs to be replaced. And all we have to do now is switch the build target out to iOS and build out a mobile AR app. And I actually have the finished app here on my iPad, and I'll show you guys the AR finished app. So this is an AR Foundation app, so it's a multi-platform. So all I have to do here is scan the floor and drop our model. And you're going to see here that we have the tower with all of these panels here. And since now it's interactive in an AR app, I can select a panel, and in the top left, you're going to see the panel status of that is in progress. We're getting that BIM data information back into an augmented reality application. And this is really, really important. But this is still just the first step. This is still really just the first step. Reviewing designs in the office is great, but what we're most excited about is to get this technology onto the construction site so that we can help transform our industry by better connecting design and construction. See, we actually took one of our first Reflect applications on site to the construction site of this tower in Brooklyn and began, you'll see that our construction team is overlaying these BIM models and data in real time on top of this construction site. And this is very, very valuable. This is going to help us catch design flaws fast, solve problems faster, and inevitably decrease the time it takes to build. Ultimately, what this means is designing and building in more efficient and sustainable ways. Thank you.
Please welcome Danny Lang.
Thank you, good evening. As creators, you're all faced with many questions around the quality, safety, and stability of your products. In an ideal world, you would want to explore all questions and all possibilities. But unfortunately, you're bound by time, inadequate information, and limited resources of the physical world we live in. But fortunately, we have Unity, a virtual world that is spatial, where you have physics and visual fidelity, and all the interactions you need to simulate any experience. However, the scope of your simulations is currently limited to the hardware at hand. That is, until today. Introducing Unity Simulation, our new cloud-based simulation product. Backed by Google Cloud, Unity Simulation enables you to automatically run multiple instances of your Unity projects at an incredible scale and on a variety of hardware. You can now test your products at any point in the development process. You can train your systems on millions or even billions of scenarios and edge cases. And you can validate your concepts without any upfront hardware investments. Unity simulation is already breaking barriers across industries. Take, for example, a self-driving car. It needs to drive at least 11 billion miles before it is considered road safe. With a traditional training method, you'd maybe get to this goal in 100 years. And each time an update is made to a piece of hardware or software in the car systems, the whole thing needs to be revalidated across a suite of test cases. But with Unity simulation, you can drive sooner by running millions of test scenarios parallel in the cloud. For example, the LG SVL simulator is LG Electronics Autonomous Vehicle Simulator. It takes advantage of several advanced Unity features, such as the high-definition rendering pipeline, the job systems, and the burst compiler. It does that to simulate photorealistic digital twins of real-world environments with accurate vehicle and sensor models. Developers can now build and test their autonomous vehicles by running a diverse set of scenarios. Running these simulations on the desktop would take months at least. But with LG SVL simulator running on Unity simulation, you can train more quickly, safely, and likely save some money too. While simulation can help invent the future, it's also crucial to solving everyday tasks that are important, yet labor-intensive and tedious, such as fine-tuning for game balance before soft launching a game. We have been working with Illogica, a 37-person game studio based in Canada, on their upcoming title, Rogue Racers. Illogica wanted to up-level their player experience and engagement through game balancing. They had to address some questions that were tough to answer, especially when you have tight deadlines, and you know that. Are skilled players beating unskilled players by a big margin? Are there combinations of cards or power-ups that would lead to big advantages for a player? In the first case of a skilled player beating an unskilled by a big margin, Illogica wanted to test many different game settings to find the one that would even out the playing field and keep the game fun for all. Using Unity simulation, Illogica decided to do a grid search and basically explore all combinations of possible values for 3 parameters in the game to find the one combination that would optimize for best results. Illogica ran over 22,000 simulations in a matter of hours instead of the weeks it would have taken with human players doing this. Okay? With Unity simulation, Illogica was able to quickly understand which settings would lead to an enhanced player experience. Scale is no longer a barrier with Unity simulation. But we're not finished. Doing simulations at scale is critical to achieving big goals. But what if you're a smaller game studio who just needs a simple, fast way for to optimize your game for your individual players? Well, Future Play is here to tell you more. Thank you.
Please welcome Tattoo Lane.
Future Play Games is a small studio of 34 people based in Helsinki. Our most notable games are Idle Farming Empire and Battlelands Royale, which together have over 65 million downloads. As a game designer, my job is to keep players in the game. Idle Farming Empire is over 4 years old, and we're constantly looking for ways to improve our metrics and keep things fresh. I need to provide a constant flow of new content, features, and events. I have so many ideas I want to test, but every test requires an analyst, a programmer, an artist. It can take weeks to design and even longer to roll out and analyze the results. And as a small studio, that's just not feasible. For example, our store hadn't been updated in over 3 years. So last month, we decided to make a better version of our store. We thought it would be a small thing, but it turned out we were wrong. Players hated the new store. We had to drop everything we were doing to roll it back. It took us way too long to correct our mistake and roll out a fix. We needed something to help us iterate faster, to make smarter decisions that don't come at the cost of losing players. So when we learned about GameTune, a decision engine powered by machine learning that optimizes your game in real time, we were all in. I was excited that there was something that acted and learned faster than us. One of the tests we ran was for tutorial progression speed, and we set the GameTune to optimize for day 7 retention. We then gave it 4 different speeds to choose from very slow to very fast. And we assumed that there was no way the slowest speed could win. But we assumed wrong again. GameTune was able to immediately identify the slowest speed as the best variable, and we started seeing positive results in just a few days. And we didn't even need to analyze the results, because the game was adjusted in real time. We would have never tested these extreme settings without GameTune, because the risk of losing players was too high. With GameTune,
we could be more bold. And as a result, we were able to inject new life into the game. And we now retain 5% more players every day and run double the tests we used to. The time we save on testing now gets put toward developing and optimizing features. Thanks to GameTune, we now have the power of a large machine learning team to deliver the best experience to our players. Thank you.
Please welcome Arissa Scott.
The Unity graphics team lives to create best-in-class graphics technology, performant, state-of-the-art visuals, along with intuitive artist workflows. That's our driving force. When it comes to graphics, you need power to push your visuals and control to be able to decide what matters to you most. We are investing in our render technology with the scriptable render pipelines, giving you direct control over what you need. You can take advantage of our 2 render pipelines out of the box, use them as a starting point for your own solution, or customize them to meet your needs. The high-definition render pipeline is best to use if your goal is more targeted, pushing graphics as far as you can on high-end hardware, delivering powerful, performant, high-fidelity visuals. It's a fully featured offering in 2019.3, now out of preview, bringing stunning graphics and photorealism at game-ready frame rates. Your HDRP assets will scale in fidelity on high-end platforms, taking the best advantage of the available hardware resources for best visual quality. And you only have to author it once with our full suite of production-ready artist tools, such as VFX Graph, Shader Graph, post-processing. The second pipeline is Universal Render Pipeline, formerly known as Lightweight Render Pipeline, which is best to use if you want full Unity platform reach with best-in-class visual quality and performance. It's a powerful solution right out of the box with a full suite of artist tools for content creation. Most importantly, it visually scales with the capabilities of the hardware to all platforms that Unity targets. We believe it's important that you have the right tool for the right job. You now have a range of options you can confidently build off of right now and for the future. And if 2D is where you live, our new suite of tools will unlock even more creativity. Let's take a look.
Please welcome Andy Touch and Jennifer Nordwall.
We love 2D. Whether it's an RPG or a match 3 game, some of today's most successful games are 2D, including 75 of the top 100 mobile games. And we've been working to raise the bar for development across the board, to not only help you create what you want, but also improve the experience of how you create it. So let's take a look at the 2D tools working together. But before we jump in, I want to give a very big thank you to Back to the Game Studio based in Montreal, who made the lovely project that Jennifer and I are about to show you. This project is called The Lost Crypt. It was created using the universal render pipeline, which now has a built-in 2D renderer, really dedicated to making your art truly shine. The 2D renderer introduces a wealth of new graphics features that you can see throughout these environments, from the glowing particles that were in the air to the character's dynamic shadow being cast by the magic wand onto the crypt wall. And the rich tone of the forest and these little spirit sprites is a result of our new native 2D lighting system that add mood, variety, and depth to create this mystical nighttime atmosphere. So let's go behind the scenes to see how the new 2D tools helped bring this project to life. So previously, to create a day-night cycle, you'd make many different versions of every sprite in the level. But 2D lights make this much, much easier. All sprites can be reused in every lighting condition. And as you can see, as Jennifer moves this slider, it controls a wide variety of lights that dynamically modify everything that you see in the scene. And here we have what we call a 2D point light. This has a wide range of in-scene gizmos to visually control how it illuminates the scene. You may notice that the light's intensity and also the fall-off are also influencing the normal maps on the background tar map wall. And this scene looks great, but a layer of visual polish can be added to take it to that next level. Shader graph and post-processing work together with the 2D renderer. And the visual effects of this water sprite were composed entirely using shader graph. And as we can see, the water refracts the dungeon floor and also reflects the 2D lights. Shader graph allows you to create 2D shaders with absolutely no code by connecting these very visual nodes together. So let's take a look at the creation of organic terrains. In the past, a team would need to create, manage, and also lay out many individual little sprites and colliders entirely separately. But with Sprite Shape, you define all your data in just one place. And a visual tool makes it easy to create and also iterate on your level shape. And these sprite shapes, they can also be used to generate platform colliders and also dynamically change the environment visuals that you see on the screen. Now, when it comes to animating characters, sometimes frame-by-frame animation can be very costly in terms of production time, file size, and just being difficult to iterate on. And with our new bone-based solution, a team needs less art to achieve smooth animation. So here we have this character, and she's been created using our new rigging and IK system made entirely for 2D. And the character's hair uses that exact same rigging system, but is instead driven by 2D physics. And here you can see that Jennifer is switching the sprite library asset. And this is instantly, in real time, changing how the character looks. All whilst reusing the same 2D rig, 2D IK, and 2D animations. This opens up a world of possibilities for developing your game. As you can see, these new tools and workflows will help you to achieve what you want to create in the most efficient way. Thank you.
Please welcome Tim Cooper.
The Universal Render Pipeline is a powerful rendering technology that delivers a combination of beauty and performance right out of the box. Best of all, it's supported on any platform that Unity can target. Whether you're building for 2D, 3D, VR, or AR, if you wish to develop once and deploy everywhere, this is the rendering technology you should be using. By using the Universal Render Pipeline, you are able to use all of our new artist tools and workflows, including VFX Graph, Shader Graph, post-processing, light mapping tools, and render parsers. You can update your projects from Unity's built-in renderer, and simply put, it runs better and scales better. To demonstrate the benefits of moving to the Universal Render Pipeline, we decided to upgrade a real project. We took the Polygon Farm Asset Store Pack by Synthi Studios and ran it through our automated upgrade tooling. In every aspect, the Universal Render Pipeline performed better and faster. Universal Render Pipeline utilizes an improved single-pass forward rendering technique that leads to fantastic performance improvements. CPU and GPU usage were 30% faster, draw calls were significantly reduced, and memory access was improved by 1/3, meaning that you can add more content and still hit your target frame rates. Put simply, Universal Render Pipeline can handle more content, it won't heat up your phone as much, and your users can play longer. Now, to help me talk about beauty and extensibility, Andre McGrail will join me. So this is Crest Ocean, a tool developed by a small team of 2 from the UK. Crest allows you to create beautiful, realistic oceans and is built as a plugin for the Universal Render Pipeline. It's available on the Asset Store. Now, when you think about tropical islands, what comes to mind? To me, it's beautiful, inviting, emerald green water. This phenomenon is caused by the way that bright tropical light scatters and bounces as it interacts with the water. It's a difficult effect to model accurately. Utilizing the power of the Universal Render Pipeline, the team was able to extend the rendering without having to modify the Universal source code and develop a number of state-of-the-art rendering features to model this beautiful water you can see on screen right now. To start with, the team used the custom render pass feature to add shadow accumulation inside the water volume. You can see this here in the cave. Beautiful, soft shadows. Another important part of the Universal Render Pipeline is the physically based shading model that scales from high-end to mobile devices. This is an exposed shader library that you can use in your projects for custom materials. In Crest Ocean, this was used to help model the state-of-the-art subsurface light scattering within the water volume. Without this, the island looks much less tropical and, frankly, to me, a little dull. Previously, to make effects like this, they were hard to achieve. But with explicit hooks, it's now possible to greatly extend rendering without having to write a renderer from scratch. So, Universal gives you beauty and extensibility, but what about platform reach? Keeping with the theme of tropical islands, let's take a look at the Boat Attack project. With Universal Render Pipeline, you can truly author once and deploy everywhere, with great performance and best-in-class visuals. So let's take a look at this running on the Xbox One. We developed the Boat Attack in-house as a way to test features for Universal as we were developing the pipeline. Do you want to switch across to the PlayStation 4, Andre? We added some cool features to this, like a day-night cycle and custom time of day. How about you show the people in the crowd? And finally, let's take a look at this running on the Nintendo Switch. So what's great about this is this was all built from the same Unity project. Universal Render Pipeline easily reaches the high end with fantastic performance, high resolution, and beautiful quality. But a project like this, how well does it run on mobile? Here, you can see 3 phones, each with different power and capabilities. The project you see here is built from the exact same content as on the consoles, except some features have been optimized through our scalable quality settings. On these phones, we hit a rock-solid 30 frames per second without sacrificing quality. We've also upgraded the post-processing to a state-of-the-art mobile-optimized version. These effects are designed to work blazingly fast and take advantage of hardware specific to mobile devices. You can easily upgrade your existing projects using our upgrade tooling and start to take advantage of the new features and performance benefits in the 2019.3 beta. If you wish to have gorgeous graphics and be able to scale your content, then you need to be using the production-ready Universal Render Pipeline. Thank you.
Please welcome Freeman Fan.
Since starting Multiverse, our 40-person studio in Shenzhen, China, we've established a reputation for building immersive VR games. But our newest project has us applying our Unity expertise to PC. Today, I'm thrilled to share an early view at our newest game, Earth from Another Sun. In this roguelike FPS, a mysterious threat in the future sends Earth through a wormhole back to the present day. We jumped into production earlier this year, leveraging a few Unity sample assets to move fast. Driven by the desire to realize our vision of a graphically stunning game with a new level of immersive realism, we chose the high-definition render pipeline. HDRP enables us to build a world that feels more lifelike and organic, creating an ambience that evokes a sense of tension and mystery. To achieve this, our artists layered a variety of HDRP effects. First, we adjusted the exposure, then did some tone mapping, applied subsurface scattering, added volumetric lighting, modified the color grading, and made a slight lens distortion. The result speaks for itself. A stunning environment that's alive and far more immersive than what we started with. Even better, we didn't have to sacrifice performance. Every shooter strives for a high frame rate, but balancing visual fidelity and performance can be a challenge. We're overjoyed that Earth from Another Sun runs at a smooth 60 frames per second. Even during intense battles, while defending against hordes of enemies, or going up against a giant alien worm, performance never stutters. We're able to achieve our graphical vision while ensuring highly performant gameplay. With the high-definition render pipeline, we're benefiting from its incredible visual capabilities while future-proofing our development as we head toward a release in 2020. Thank you.
This is the place. Doesn't look like much. Go take a look. Yeah, got it. Okay, here we go. So who exactly is this guy? You're kidding. They're a fairy tale, Boston. Don't be an idiot. I see it. Open it. Wait. Do it. Can't believe this place is actually real. This makes no sense to me, Boston. But you might happen to be right. We've got one shot at this. I've got one shot at this. I know. I know. Here it is, the last one. We know that now.
Give it to me.
That's why I'm here. Give it to me.
welcome Sylvia Rasheva and Vlad Nakov.
What you just saw renders in real time at 30 frames per second on commercial-grade hardware. What we'd like to do now is to give you a behind-the-scenes peek into what this short film looks like in Unity, and to share how we addressed some of the more interesting production and artistic challenges in this project.
So what we have here is the whole short film from the beginning to the end running in Unity in real time. We'd like to focus on some of the more interesting points that will allow to us to communicate to you how the team managed to accomplish their vision.
With our productions, we are always striving to achieve a twofold goal. On one side, we want to push the boundaries on visual fidelity and to get closer to photorealism. And on the other, we want to enable artistic stylization and visual development that is influenced from cinema. We wanted to focus on creating a compelling experience, but without getting bogged down with the technically mundane. So let us dive right in and first of all show you how Unity's high-definition render pipeline is used throughout the project. It is a feature we've been talking a lot about, and here is why it is important. The great thing about the HD render pipeline is that it makes high-fidelity graphics very accessible. You don't need to use any arbitrary measurements and values. You can simply emulate what you observe in the real world, and you can get the results you expect.
Lighting a scene, for example, is very intuitive with a range of powerful features, such as area lights, which are great for shots like this, and volumetric lights, which contribute a lot to the ambient feel. And as Sylvia mentioned, because HDRP is using physically accurate values, everything else, from the camera lens to bloom, it just works. HDRP also comes built in with a powerful set of post-processing tools, which allow us to modify the final frame to receive this cinematic look that we desire. Here you can watch in this shot how it drastically changes the final look.
Let me emphasize this real quick. We are talking about final quality frame, which goes directly into the film, and Vlad is manipulating it in real time in the editor. This is possible due to HDRP's fully unified, physically based rendering. HDRP already comes with some very powerful shaders with which artists can author believable materials. These include anything from the standard lit shader to fabric, hair, or decal shaders. However, in every project, the need for something project-specific may arise. Unity's shader graph allows for easy authoring of custom shaders. This empowers artists to work independently and to raise the quality of the visuals they create.
For example, here the team is using shader graph to create a dust shader. This shader is applied to a material which we've added here to this pipe. As you can see, whenever I move the pipe, the dust always settles on top. Now, these kind of effects are really the bread and butter of any kind of production, but shader graph enables anybody on the team to create them.
Now on to the character Morgan, which appears at the end of the protagonist's journey. It presented a challenge that we hadn't tackled before. It is a creature of undefined shape and gender in a constantly fluctuating emotional state. It is distressed and chaotic. A being which is both good and evil, both male and female, both aggressive and vulnerable. How do we achieve something like that? So we needed a tool that enables us to explore its visual appearance and behavior through fast design iterations. We needed not only to render this character in real time, but also to author it through a real-time creation process.
And the visual effects graph was just the right tool to tackle the challenge of creating a character such as Morgan. By creating the simulation with GPU particles, an artist can change the geometry, and the character will basically conform to this new geometry. The particles will go and change it. So this is really powerful because it enables not only to tackle the challenge of Morgan, but also to iterate and try out new things.
And this is how we were able to see Morgan transitioning between genders, transforming from a giant to human size, all the while their appearance is shifting in line with their changing emotions. One of the most complex problems, not only in real-time graphics, but in CG in general, is how to achieve believable human characters. The human face is so familiar to us that we have evolved to read and recognize even the tiniest details of its expression. In order for a digital human to look acceptable to us, a large number of technological features need to be developed and to play nicely together all at once. With the production of The Heretic, we wanted to explore this space, and we wanted to help accelerate Unity on a path towards becoming a next-level tool for creators, no matter how high their ambitions.
In addition to all standard materials, HDRP now ships with built-in master nodes for hair, fabric, and other advanced materials. Here we are using the built-in hair shader for Gawain's stubble and eyebrows. And since we are on the topic of hair, this is the hair geometry, and you can see as Gawain is being animated, the geometry conforms to the face. And this was possible with the help of C# jobs and the burst compiler, which allow us to resolve over 400,000 individual poses every frame at runtime. In addition, even though there isn't a dedicated skin shader, the team here is extending the stack-lit master node within HDRP to create a believable skin shader which is applied to Gawain. And you can see as we change the light that the shader reacts as you expect.
Now, HDRP and the VFX graph are coming out of preview. They are production ready for content creation in Unity 2019.3. You can have it in your hands already today in open beta. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our show. I hope you guys had a good time, learned a little bit, found some interesting tidbits. So we believe, and hope you agree, that real-time 3D is one of the most powerful storytelling mediums of our time and into the future. So we hope you guys agree with that. So we are going to call it a night. For those on the live stream, please stick around for the post-show with Liz and Will. It'll start immediately after. For all of you in the room here, we hope you join us for the keynote reception right behind you. And thank you. Have a great week.
Well,
Wowzers,
Liz
that was
McCurry.
fantastic.
It's like game development Christmas out there. Is it? Hang on, let me check my watch. It's not even December. Not even December. So many incredible things in that keynote. I can't believe it. What did you enjoy?
Well, do you know what my favourite part was?
I don't. That's why I asked.
I don't mean to be biased, but I'm just going to say it. I really loved the 2D section, all our 2D features. The demo was gorgeous, and I just loved how everything was brought together. So we've got... So it was using the 2D renderer with the universal render pipeline.
True.
Sprite shape, shader graph used with 2D. We had the sprite swap, sprite shape. Just if you're wanting to create a 2D game or project, we just have so much great stuff for you. And that was very exciting for me.
We were talking about this earlier, and I love how, obviously Ori and the Blind Forest came out a little while ago. Now there's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And that kind of quality of 2D game obviously came from the team with just a ton of passion for making an incredible experience. And I just love that we've put together those tools that now give you, lighting and particles and, complex geometry for
Lighting,
2D.
shadows, and
it's so cool.
It's just incredible.
It makes me very happy.
What about you? Sorry, I was just rambling on.
That's fine. Let's talk about you, Liz. For me, it's all about LiveLink. I'm all about the dots and LiveLink, and bringing all of that stuff to production readiness is a big deal. Speaking of which, who's this?
This is our opinions, but let's have an opinion from someone that matters.
Oh, Brett Bibby, VP of Engineering. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Great to see
It's
you.
great to be seen, and this is an amazing turnout.
Pretty
oh
cool,
my
right?
gosh.
Brilliant.
Which,
Absolutely
apologies for the delay, but there's a crowd.
Yeah.
There is a crowd.
So Brett, did you have a particular highlight this evening in the keynote?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm such a sucker for a good story, and the demo team just knocks it out of the park every year, every time. And Heretic was like the most amazing, story to date. And then we only got to see like part one, and I was like, well, what happens? What's in the case? What's in the box? So I thought that was really great. But
do you actually know what's in the box? I didn't tell Brett I was going to ask him that.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Sorry, I'm just trolling you, Brett.
I actually don't.
Boston. Sorry.
Boston's not in the box.
Boston the bird. No, Boston's not in the box, but
No.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Or she.
Fine. So, Brett, coming back to it, we had lots of DOTS announcements tonight. Obviously,
Yes.
that's a big part of where we're going with Unity in 2020. How do we talk to us about how we approach making sure that DOTS is something that's ready for people's productions and appropriate for their needs?
Right. Well, like most things with Unity, you know, we have a lot of users out there, a lot of great customers building amazing things. And when they're building stuff and we know it works, then it's great. And we can go talk to them. How did you make this? How did you make that? And we can think about like the solution. Unity is a solution for, say, a 2D platformer or a first-person shooter or something. And so when it comes to DOTS, this is really cutting-edge stuff, right? And it's going to unlock a set of experiences that have never before been possible. Therefore, there's nobody out there using that. So what we've done...
Just go and use it, right?
Yeah, unless you can go and use it. So you can use DOTS today. You can put it on top of an existing game. Works great. But if you want to go all in on it, there is nobody already all in on it because it's brand new technology. So internal productions is what we spin up to support that.
And that's what you saw from the sample game team.
That's right. The sample game team made the
DOT sample.
Yeah, the DOT sample. And then what we saw here was you know the next generation of their shooter, but using all dots, all the pieces, all integrated, so we know they actually all work together.
And how do we get feedback from that team? So that's pretty pivotal, right?
Right. Well, they're actually inside of our studios
here in Copenhagen.
Here in Copenhagen. And, you know, I think over the last couple of years, you've seen like a growing number of technical artists and small productions starting to dot around the studios. And I think it's really important that we're actually using dog fooding the features. It's something we heard from our customers. We like Unity, doesn't make games, but gosh, we wish they'd make games. So this is an answer to that.
We pretty much are now.
Yeah, we pretty much are now. Yeah.
Awesome.
But we don't compete with our customers.
Yeah, we never compete with people, but we're taking all of that feedback from the internal production and making it real. Awesome.
Nice.
Brett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for so much being here. And, you know, earlier when we were chatting, you were asking me about what we're, like, most excited about in 2020.
Yeah.
I want to say that.
Yeah, I should totally ask you that again, because that's what we rehearsed. Brett, tell us what you're most excited about in 2020.
I'm most excited about a strong, growing investment in artist tooling and workflows. I mean, you know, when Unity was invented a few kilometers from here, it was 90% programmers, 10% artists. Nowadays, it's completely opposite. Yeah. So, you know, starting in the few months remaining this year, but on into next year, this internal production idea, getting more artists, more teams, more people building inside of Unity and making sure that artists around the world, creators of all kinds, have the best tools and workflows. That's what I'm excited about. That's what we're investing in.
Same.
That's amazing.
Here's to that.
Yes.
Cool. Brett, thank you. We're going to grab some even more guests. So we'll see you at the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brett.
Have a good time.
Amazing. So we have a lot in the keynotes.
True.
Lots of bases to cover. Lovely guests for you. Next up is my hero, Director of XR at Unity, Timony. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Timony.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
So, loved your section in the keynote. Lots of awesome information.
Yes.
Is there anything that you just wanted to drill down more into and be like, I need to tell the people this?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I feel like our section could have been the entire keynote to really dive into it.
I can't believe you didn't get allowed to do that. That's crazy.
I'll tell Kat for next time. So the one thing I really want to talk about is the interaction toolkit, which is new. That's Matt Dalby's team on the platforms team. And it is such a fantastic addition to the way you author for this new era of sensor-driven computers, because when it comes to how computers work today, the traditional inputs that we think about are not the only way you work anymore. You can open your laptop with your face, right? That sounds weird, but it's true. And now your face is an input, right? Your hands can be an input. Your voice can be an input. There's all these new ways of interacting. And especially when it comes to the sort of development kits for the wearable AR devices, these are expensive, they're hard to get. Not every developer has access to them. So the toolkit actually provides this base layer of interactivity where the developer can just think to themselves, I need to select this object here. Like I need my character to be able to do it, or I need my user to be able to do it. Provide this layer of, it's just a selection, and then handle it across all of the different types of inputs and all of the different types of devices that you might need to use. Yep. And that's fucking fantastic.
That's amazing. That's really opening up to so many developers, right, just across the...
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And it's also kind of like future-proofing as well,
Mm.
right?
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
So help me understand. So we have, obviously, there's the AR Kit and AR Core.
Yep.
Then on top of that, you have, obviously, Unity, and you have
AR
the
Foundation.
AR
Yep.
Foundation.
And Mars.
And yeah, I was going to say, getting to it. Mars. So who's the core audience for Mars?
So the core audience for Mars, when we started building it, we really were laser focused on augmented reality developers today. AR Kit and Core, so the phones, and then also the wearable devices. But the cool thing that we have found out as we have built out this tool is that when it comes to augmented reality, it's not just about the devices themselves, it's about the types of data that you get in. And again, it's the gesture recognition, it's the voice recognition, it's the room mesh scan information, and the object detection, and so on. And so what we found is the workflows that we've created for these headsets and these phones actually works for all types of sort of world-aware devices, like self-driving cars or smart speakers. So it actually opens up Unity for a wider swath of different types of applications and devices working together than we had expected, and that is so exciting.
Oh, cool! I didn't realize that.
No,
at all.
that's incredible.
Yeah, no, I mean we didn't either until we started to think about it more, and we're like, well, wait a minute. So.
Awesome. So where can people learn more about Mars?
Yes.
Where's the best place to go?
We have a landing page where you can sign up for the closed beta. Where we're taking people as they come in on a case-by-case basis, just to make sure that we provide the proper support.
Yeah,
you get technical onboarding and access to the package. We also have a blog post coming out, I think, in the next week that will give an update on the status, and there will be more to come, obviously, next year.
Cool.
Amazing.
Timothy, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Excited
It's
to play
really
with it.
exciting. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Have a good show. Cool. And finally, last but not least, it's our friend Danny.
Is
Here he
our
is.
VP of AI and Machine Learning. Hello.
Danny, you showed some crazy things in the
So
keynote.
interesting.
Yeah, exciting, yes?
Yes, it's very
Yes.
cool. I'm someone, I don't know about you, Liz, I'm someone who doesn't know about that area of the business that much. So it's really exciting for me to understand this insight into what you're working on.
And the application of it, like,
Yeah.
what was it, 11 billion miles before a self-driving car is certified as safe.
Yeah.
And just how application...
That's quite reassuring.
Yeah. So you're just sitting here. You need to go out and get going on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's ever going to happen. Yeah. Or you just simulate it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Incredible.
realize... So apart from that, which is incredible in itself, what other applications of simulation could there be?
There are fortunately many. Yes. That's why we launched the service. Yeah. Of course, there's the whole gaming business of play testing. We talked about self-driving cars.
Yeah.
But we're also now seeing that robots are coming out of the cages, yeah? You have seen those
coming out
robots
of the cages.
in car manufacturing, you know?
I've seen Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
It scared me.
Yeah, they're getting out and moving around, yeah?
Yeah.
You can't program those things, yeah?
Yeah.
They just meet so many situations all the time, yeah? So what you have to do is you have to simulate at massive scale.
So you're providing the human behavior simulated for them to learn how to respond.
Exactly,
okay.
yeah. People are going to interact with these robots, so what do? We use NPCs in Unity. We import the robots virtually into Unity, and then we let the NPCs interact with the robots, and the robots will learn that there are certain things you shouldn't do.
Right.
Yeah.
We can hope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love this.
And this is a fantastic opportunity for Unity to use the game technology and all the stuff that the game developers have sort of created over the years, the skills, the techniques, and then use them
to impact the real world. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So going back to gaming then, what are the implications of using this in the gaming sector?
Think about it this way. Games are getting more and more dynamic, more and more adaptive, yeah? So you want to fine-tune your games. You want to figure out how your games are going to work when they actually meet the real audience, the real humans. So what do? You simulate. You run bots against your game and see how it performs with different types of robotic players. Yeah, it's basically NPCs playing the game.
So you're thinking about like procedural games where creating encounters and having teams of thousands of game designers isn't really an option, but using simulation to create those encounters.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing.
And you can figure out how they work before you bring them into the wild, into the market. Yeah? So simulation is going to change a lot of things. So yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And where can people learn more about Unity Simulation as a Service?
So go to our website. It's linked there. You can sign up and you can join the beta and get your things rolling.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Uncage those robots.
Yeah. That's a key takeaway. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the tagline.
Yeah. Danny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me.
We'll see you around
Very
the show.
interesting stuff.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Well, Elizabeth,
It's sadly come to an end.
it has come to an end, but really it's only just getting started. So you can join Unite Copenhagen from home by just looking on any social channel for #UniteCopenhagen. We're going to be sharing stuff internally. Everyone who's here, 3,000 people who are here are going to be joining and sharing stuff with you. So make sure to look out for it there. You can join our YouTube channel.
Yep. Many of the talks from this week are going to be released onto our YouTube channel in the coming weeks, so please keep your eyes peeled for that.
But until then, we will see you, and I mean you specifically, at GDC.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great show. Good night.